Perfect. Okay, I'm going to get going. I'm going to mute you guys just to keep everything quiet. If you guys need to chat, just drop a message in the chat, and I can always unmute you. Okay, perfect. Put that up. Okay, cool. So we're going to get rolling. So what are we going to talk about today? We're going to talk about your marketing strategy secret weapon, which I think is messaging. Okay, your messaging is how you're going to attract and engage customers like you have never done before. I'm Tim Fitzpatrick with Rialto Marketing, and I'm facilitating this workshop for SCORE. So my goal for you guys today, take away one or two things that you can use to improve your business. I'm sure you will. Don't focus on too many things at once. Okay, if you're trying to do everything that we talk about, I think it's probably going to be very difficult. Just start with the first thing and just keep taking steps forward, and you'll get there. But I'm going to make this as easy as I possibly can for you guys to understand. I am happy to answer any questions that you guys have. Like I said, this is being recorded. I've got free resources for you. You'll get the slide deck. All that stuff will be here. So please don't worry if you feel like you've missed something. Always like to start these SCORE workshops just talking about SCORE a bit. You guys are obviously on one of their local workshops, which are great. They have all kinds of different workshops for different aspects of helping you run your business. They have free mentoring from SCORE mentors. Most of the SCORE mentors either ran their own businesses for years or they were higher up management and corporate settings. So they're very well experienced. They know what they're doing. So if you want that one-on-one attention, you can certainly take advantage of that with SCORE. And they also have a ton of free resources as well. So I know sometimes being a business owner and entrepreneur can feel a little bit isolating. I always like to, make the analogy of kind of like Tom Hanks in Castaway, where he's stuck on that island all by himself. You don't need to feel that way. SCORE is here. There are other organizations out there. There are peer-to-peer groups where you can talk to other business owners who most likely have been where you currently are, and they've worked past it. So there's no need to feel like you're the only one on the beach by yourself. Always like to start with definition of marketing to make sure we are on the same page. Okay, to me, I like to keep things as simple as I possibly can. Marketing is getting someone who has a need or a problem you can solve to know, like, and trust you. That's it. So the job of your marketing is to warm people up, get them to the point where they know, like, and trust you so that they're ready to take that next step. We all do business with people that we know, like, and trust. So when our marketing gets people to that point, closing the sale becomes much, much easier when that customer is ready to take the next step. I want to talk about two really important marketing quotes here, and I'll tell you why as I go through these. So the first one is from Peter Drucker, who was a marketing and business consultant, and he said, because the purpose of business is to create a customer, the business enterprise has two and only two basic functions: marketing and innovation. Marketing and innovation produce results. All the rest are cost. Marketing is the distinguishing, unique function of the business. The reason I like to start all of the workshops that I do with this quote is because it really highlights the importance of marketing. In one of the first things that a lot of businesses have done with what we're dealing with COVID and the ensuing economic downturn is cut expenses, employees, marketing. And if you cut marketing, I don't know how you can possibly grow your business. You have to have marketing to bring people in so that you can actually do business. So you can have the best product, service in the world. If you don't have marketing bringing in new customers, none of it matters. So that's one of the reasons why I always talk about this quote. Marketing is an investment. If you see it that way, you will put money in each and every month, and it will build upon itself over time. It's just like putting money in your 401k every month. So Really, really important, I think, to see marketing as an investment rather than an expense. And it's something that you need to do consistently. The next quote here is from Seth Godin, who's another marketing consultant. And he said, the cost of being wrong is less than the cost of doing nothing. So one of the really important things I think coming out of a workshop like this is to take action. Okay, it may not be perfect. It's probably never going to be perfect, but you're far better off taking imperfect action, trying to make progress rather than doing nothing at all. Okay, because the cost of doing nothing is much, much greater than taking action, even if it's imperfect. Okay, so that's why I talk about these quotes. If you've sat in on any of the other workshops that I do for SCORE, this is very familiar to you. So I'm going to give you the Cliff Note version of me. You didn't come here to hear all about me, but I think having some context as to why I'm the one here doing this with you today is super important, and then we're going to jump into all this content. So I was born here. I grew up here. I loved this, this, and this as a kid. All of this was during when it was time for me to go to college. This is what I wanted to do. So I went here, but I realized I did not like being in this every single day. So transferred here, majored in after, started a company selling this to contractors. We grew like this for over 10 years, and it was all I could do to hold on until we did this. Along the way, checked an item off my bucket list, married this beautiful woman, very fortunate. Shortly after that, checked another item off our bucket list. 2008, we moved here to start about a year later, here we are, and shortly after that, we were blessed with this little one. About 18 months later, we had this little one as well. Meanwhile, I was selling these for a living, which made me feel like this every day. So I decided to shift gears, start a company offering marketing to small businesses so they could do this, and that is why I'm here. So to me, marketing is all about the fundamentals. I like to call the marketing fundamentals the marketing strategy trilogy. You got to know who your target market is, who you're trying to reach. You have to have great messaging, which is what we're going to talk about today. And then you got to have a system or a plan that you can follow. Okay, no matter what you're doing, whether it's marketing, whether it's operating your business, whether it's running, trying to hit a baseball, the fundamentals in whatever you are trying to do, they do not change. They are always the same. They always will be. And marketing is no different. I love this quote from Michael Jordan. He said, to get the fundamentals down and the level of everything you do will rise. That is why the marketing fundamentals are so, so important. A lot of people skip the fundamentals. They're not sexy. They're not cool. They may not understand them. They may not even be aware of them, right? All they're aware of is, hey, you got to have a website, and you got to be on social media, and you got to do this, you got to do that. Well, when you skip the fundamentals, you're building a house without a foundation, which is not going to stay up consistently. But when you have the marketing fundamentals in place, it's much easier to get consistent, repeatable results with your marketing. And the marketing that you do choose to do is going to work that much better and that much more effective. Most of the time when we talk to a client, if they're experiencing problems in their marketing in some way, shape, or form, it almost always comes back to a fundamental issue. They don't have good messaging, they don't have a good plan that they're following, or they don't know who their target market is. They're trying to reach everybody. Okay, so that's why I want to touch on that. But now we are going to get into messaging. First, I'm going to talk about why marketing messaging is important, and then we're going to jump into how to create messaging that actually works, that's clear and engaging. So first, the consequences of poor marketing messaging. Okay, if you do not have good messaging, if you do not communicate clearly with prospects and with customers, you confuse them. And when you confuse people, you lose them. I bring this stat up all the time. I wish I could remember where I saw it, but the average attention span at this point is 8 seconds, which is less than a goldfish. So we are so used to having information at our fingertips very quickly. If we can't get what we want or figure out what you're trying to say very quickly, we are moving on. Okay, you've lost those people. Second thing is you waste marketing dollars. okay? Because your marketing is not going to convert, right? Which goes back down to poor lead generation. Okay, when you're not communicating clearly, when people don't understand what you actually do, you spend money trying to convert leads, but inevitably it just does not work as effectively as it should, or it doesn't work at all. So marketing messaging is really, really important. Now the benefits, right? You're going to attract more leads because you're communicating clearly and your messaging is engaging. You save time and money, okay? Because you save time because you know exactly what you're going to say every time you're creating some type of marketing message or collateral or flyers. You already have that information. And you save money because your messaging will help you convert better. Okay, so the marketing that you do invest in is going to be that much more effective, which in turn, you're going to grow your business. Okay, if you generate more leads and you convert more leads, you are naturally going to grow your business. So messaging, I can't even tell you how important it is. So how do we actually create great messaging? We recommend that you use storytelling, okay, because storytelling creates clarity. We all love stories. We love to follow them. They're easy to understand. And what we want to do is invite your customer into a story. Now, there are a few reasons why we recommend you use storytelling to create your messaging. Okay, but we first need to understand the two biggest mistakes that businesses make when they're selling their products or services. The first one is there is no focus on what will help people survive and thrive. Okay, the only two reasons why any of us make decisions are to avoid pain and gain pleasure. That's it. So survive and thrive. And too many businesses focus their messaging on them, right? We're great because we do this. We're great because of this process, or our product is the best. The bottom line is our customers don't care. What our customers do care about is what we can do for them. How can we help them solve the problems that they currently have and get them from where they are to where they want to be? That's all they care about. The second big mistake a lot of businesses make is they make it difficult for people to understand their offer or what they do, right? Which goes back, I just touched on that slide or two back, right? If we confuse people, if they don't understand what we do, we are losing them. And a lot of times we don't even know it. The reason we use storytelling is storytelling helps you solve and eliminate both of those problems. Okay, so super important. So the essential elements of every story. There's character. That character has a problem. They meet a guide who gives them a plan that calls them to action so that they avoid failure and they reach success. If you look at most movies, most books, they follow, if not this exactly, a very similar framework. So let's look at a real world example. This is a real world example. Please don't judge me. It's one of my favorite movies, the original Point Break from the early 90s. Okay, if you're not familiar with the movie, you've got the main character, Keanu Reeves. He is a green FBI agent. The problem that he is encountering is there is a group of bank robbers called the ex-presidents that are robbing banks in Southern California. He meets a guide who happens to be his partner, Gary Busey, who is a seasoned FBI agent. He's been there, done that. He knows exactly what's going on. Well, Gary Busey gives Keone a plan. Okay, and that plan is that you need to learn how to surf, because I believe the ex-presidents are a bunch of surfers. So he calls them to action. You got to go learn how to surf so that he can infiltrate this group, meet them, get to know them, so that they avoid failure, which is they get away, and ends in success, they catch them. Okay? If you think about one of your favorite movies, I'm sure you can take each of these elements and just start plugging things in. So we use what we call the brand playbook framework, which is based on this storytelling framework. You've got the character, right? The 7 steps. Character, problem, they meet a guide, gives them a plan, calls them to action so that they can avoid failure and reach success. So we're going to dig into each one of these a little bit so they give you a little bit better understanding of kind of what we're doing and how we're going to work through this. So the first part is you've got the character. Okay, your customer is the main character or the hero in the story, not you. A lot of businesses, when you talk about yourself and how good you are, everything that's unique about you, what you are doing unknowingly often is positioning yourself as the character or the hero in the story. And that's not what our customers are looking for. Okay, our customers are looking for a guide that can help them get from where they are to where they want to be. So at this point, all we're trying to understand here is what do our customers want as it relates to what we do. So what do customers want? Here's some examples. Financial advisor. I just want to plan for my retirement. Okay, real estate agent. I may want the home that I've always dreamed about. Or if I'm going to get an executive coach, right, working with leaders, I may want to become a leader that everybody loves. Okay, it's pretty simple. You know, if I'm a plumber, what do my customers want? They want me to fix their leaky pipes. Okay, we don't need to overthink this. Again, using the storytelling framework helps you boil things down to their most simple form, right? Because we don't want to be clever with our marketing messaging. We want to be clear. Because when we're clever, we make people have to think about it and we lose people. So this is all about boiling things down so that they're super simple. Second step is there's a problem, right? When we can identify our customers' problems, it deepens their interest in what we have to offer, right? The problem is the hook that brings people in, right? Because if they have a specific problem and we are talking about how we can solve that problem, they want to naturally learn more and know about that, right? So the more that we talk about our problems, the more interest they're going to have. Okay, so that's why this second step is so important. And there are multiple facets to the problem, right? So how do we talk about our customer's problem? Every story has a villain. So we want to bring in, personify, right? This villain is not always in the movies or in books. The villain is always a person, right? But in the story that we are inviting your customers into, odds are very high it's not going to be a person. It's something that we are going to try and personify though, right? And the way that we can identify that is what's that chief source of conflict that our products and services help defeat. One of the things that I always bring up is, I think most of us have seen like the Mucinex commercials, the cold medicine, and there's just the big green blob of mucus in the commercials. That is the villain in their story. They are personifying mucus as the villain in that example. Another one that we may be familiar with is the Allstate commercials where they talk about mayhem. And there's this guy who's disheveled, his hair's screwed up, his suit's all messed up. It's mayhem, right? So they are taking the villain, mayhem, and personifying it. Okay, that's all we're doing when we try to identify a villain in the story. Now, along with the villain, we have 3 levels of problems. The first level of problems is we have the external problem. This is the outwardly manifested problem itself, the problem that we see. Okay, the second one is the internal problem. And the internal problem is how the external problem and the villain are making us feel. Okay, we buy based on emotion, and then we justify it with logic. Okay, which is why it's really important to not just talk about the external problem, but the internal problem, because that is how our customers are feeling. And then the third level of problem is the philosophical problem. The philosophical problem is the right versus wrong in the story. Okay, and so we want to identify that, what's just plain wrong about our customers having to deal with this villain and with these external and internal problems. Okay, so the problem, you've got the villain, then an external, an internal, and a philosophical problem. So let's look at this, okay? Commercial cleaning company, right? The villain could be cleaning companies that don't do a good job, right? For those of you that have offices and you've got cleaning companies, we've all run into situations where we show up, the cleaners were there, and we look around and we feel like the only thing that they did was empty the trash. So, so we could take other cleaning companies that aren't doing a good job and create and put them as the villain in the story. The external problem is I need a clean office. Internal, I'm frustrated, right? My office isn't clean. It's not a good representation of my business. I'm dealing with a cleaning company that's doing a lousy job. I am frustrated. I have better things to do with my time. The philosophical problem, what's the right versus wrong in the story, is you should be able to trust your cleaners, right? You should be able to trust that they're going to do a great job. Financial planner. Villain might be financial firms that don't listen to their customers. The external problem, I need investment help, right? I need a plan. I don't want to have to worry about my retirement. The internal problem is I'm confused. I don't know what I need to do, right? I know I need a plan, but I'm confused and I need help. And the philosophical problem could be, if I'm going to invest my money, I deserve an advisor who's going to listen to me and take my unique needs into account and create a plan for me to help me get to where I want to be. Okay, so that's how these are just a few examples of how you might incorporate the problem elements. Step 3, so you meet a guide, right? Customers, touched on this, customers are not looking for a hero, they're looking for a guide, right? And so what we want to do with this framework is invite your customers into the story where you are the guide. Why? Because guides are trusted. If you think about Star Wars, okay, Luke Skywalker and Yoda. Yoda's trusted. He's already a Jedi. He's been where Luke has been. He knows how to solve his problems. Guides in the story actually are some of the strongest characters. Most main characters or heroes they're fairly weak. They're lost. They don't know what to do. They got this problem. They have no idea how to solve it. They're stuck. The guide is the one that has all the authority and the trust, which is why we want to position you as the guide in your customer's story. So how do we do that? We do that in 2 ways. Okay, guides have 2 main characteristics. They have empathy. Hey, I understand what it feels like to be frustrated with your cleaner, right? We know what it's like to work with cleaners that don't do a great job, right? You're simply making empathetic statements that you understand and you have been in your customer's shoes. Then guides have authority and they have credibility. Okay, so those are the 2 ways that the storytelling framework will help position you as the guide and not the hero in the story. 4th step, you got to give your customers a plan, right? A guide with the plan is trusted, and all your plan is doing is laying out the stepping stones that your customer is going to go take to get across the river, right? You got to get from this side of the river to the other. Well, you're going to step on this stone, and this stone, right? So all we're doing is just guiding them and giving them an idea of what it is going to be like to work with us. Now, there are 2 types of plans. The first is what we call a process plan. And the process plan is really those stepping stones. What's it like to work with you? A process plan helps alleviate confusion. Okay, because when your customers come to your website or they read, they see an ad, something like that, they may be wondering, well, what's it like to work with them? They don't know. Okay, and if we start to talk about, as a marketing consultant and digital marketing company, we do a ton of different stuff. Okay, we don't just do 3 things. But if we start jumping into the 10, 15, 20, 30 different things that we're going to do for you, it's confusing as hell. So we've got to boil this down again, keep it simple, right? You just need to talk to us, get a plan, and then enjoy greater peace of mind. That third step, we're focusing on one of those benefits, those success elements. Okay. Are there a bunch of other things we do? Yes. But to get started, that's all you need to know. Talk to us, get a plan, and enjoy greater peace of mind. That's your process plan. What's it like to work with you? And it's going to help alleviate confusion with your customer. Then you've got an agreement plan. And an agreement plan helps alleviate fears that your customer may have in doing business with you. CarMax, great example. Okay, CarMax, if you're not familiar with them, used car dealership. What fears do we have in buying a used car? One, I can't stand going in, haggling with the salesperson, wondering whether I got the best deal or not. And am I going to get a lemon? So what's their agreement plan? You're never going to haggle over price, and all our vehicles pass our standards check. So you're not going to get a lemon. You're not going to buy this thing, drive it off the lot, and it breaks down, 3 blocks down the road, right? So they're making this agreement with us prior to us actually doing business to help alleviate those common fears that we may have in doing business with the used car dealer. Fifth step, we got to call people to action. Okay, the most motivated among us will take action without being prompted, but the vast majority of people do not take action unless you tell them what you want them to do. So we've got to be very clear about telling people what we want them to do. And when we look at calls to action, there are 2 types of calls to action. There's direct call to action, and there is a transitional call to action. Direct calls to action are for people that are ready to buy. They are ready to take that next step. They've already hit that know, like, trust level, and they're like, cool, I want to take the next step and find out how this company can help me get to where I want to be. So these are calls to action like buy now, schedule a free consult, schedule an appointment, shop now. Those are very clear, direct calls to action that tell people, next step, if you want to do business with us, is to schedule an appointment or get a free consult. Now, a lot of the people that come to our website or come in contact with us initially, they're not going to be ready to take that next step toward purchase. And if we don't have a way to capture their information so that we can keep in contact, continue to add value and nurture them, we are relying on them to come back to us. And in most cases, they will not. They won't even remember us. So we have what we call a transitional call to action to help us accomplish that. Help us grab their contact information when they're not quite ready to take that direct step. This is free information, right? Checklists, cheat sheets, pitfall sheets, those types of things. Could be a case study or a white paper. If you're selling products, sometimes it's free samples. Or, a lot of times if you can do like a free trial, software companies do this all the time. 14-day free trial or a 30-day free trial. So I can get in, get my hands dirty, play with the software a little bit and really figure out, do I like this? Is it going to work for me? And meanwhile, if they're doing a good job while I'm working through that initial 14 or 30 days or whatever it is, they are communicating with me consistently throughout that process to help make sure I understand how to use the software, that my questions are getting answered, so that at the end of that trial, I'm ready to actually buy and take the next step. So all we're trying to do with our transitional call to action is get a name and an email address. That's really it. Okay, some people don't even collect a first name. I like to get a first name so that I can be a little bit more personal with people. But with your transitional calls to action, you really want to try and collect as little information as possible, I think. The more you try to collect, the less people you're going to get to opt into that. So, step 6, we want to help our customers avoid failure, right? It's human nature. We're all trying to avoid that, that tragic ending. But we need to let people know what failure looks like. If somebody does not work with you, what problems are they going to continue to experience? Or what consequences will manifest themselves because they're not addressing this problem? We need to let people know, okay, we can't assume that they know. So we need to tell them. And that's where this section of your playbook comes in. Now, when you talk about failure elements in your messaging, it's like salt in a recipe. Too much, not a good thing, right? You need just enough, and then we want to focus on success elements, but you've got to let people know what they have at stake. And then 7 ends in success. Okay, we can't assume that our customers know what success looks like. We need to tell them. This is more like the flour in the recipe. You got a bunch of it. You can just keep piling it on. Just keep talking about those success elements. We want to make sure that they know about all of the success elements that they will experience when they work with you. And then there's one last thing. Every character goes through some type of transformation. In the beginning of the movie, they're feeling one way, right? They're in this specific situation. And by the end of the movie, they are feeling a different way. And in a lot of cases, they have actually transformed. They have become a different person. So for example, financial advisor, right? Before I talk to my financial advisor, I may be confused or ill-equipped, right? I don't have the tools that I need. After I work with my financial advisor, I have now become competent and smart, right? Or a pet food brand, right? If I might position it, hey, you're the passive dog owner, you don't really care all that much about, the food that you're feeding your dog. It's like any kibble will do. Not when you use our food. You now become every dog's hero because you're feeding them healthy, nutritious, good food. And hey, don't we all want to be every dog's hero, right? So just an idea of how that transformation comes in. If we can get our customers to believe in that transformation, the rest of it, because we want to become different people a lot of times. And if we can buy into that, get them to buy into that transformation that they're going to experience, the rest of what we're telling them is all going to fall right into place. So I'm going to lift the hood a little bit and show you exactly how we use our brand playbook for my company. Okay, and so I'm going to walk you through this. Then I am going to walk you through how we've incorporated some of those elements into our website. And then we're going to talk about a few more things, and I am happy to answer any and all questions that you guys have as it comes to this, because I want to make sure this is clear. So first, you got the character. What we are trying to do here is answer, what do they want? What do our customers want as it relates to what we do? So for us, it's grow your business. Okay, a lot of the customers we talk to, they may want a number of different, they may want to generate more leads or generate more traffic to their website. But the bottom line is all of those things help people grow their business. So we've just boiled it down to its most base level. You want to grow your business. Then the problem section. For us, we are personifying confusion as the villain. Okay, confusion when it comes to marketing comes in many different forms. Is my marketing working? Why am I not generating leads from my website? What do I need to focus on with my marketing right now based on where I'm at? How do I create a plan that I can actually follow? Right? There's all different types of confusion, but confusion is the villain, right? Because confusion is causing this external problem that I don't have a plan I can follow. It is impossible to create a marketing plan when you're confused because you're just throwing stuff up against a wall hoping it sticks. The internal problem, how I'm feeling because of that confusion, because I don't have a plan, is I'm frustrated. I want to grow my business, but I'm battling this confusion. I don't have a plan. This is super frustrating. The philosophical problem, the right versus wrong in the story, is that marketing your business shouldn't be a challenge. It is a challenge for a lot of companies, but it shouldn't be, and it doesn't have to be that way. Then we meet a guide, right? So again, empathy and authority, right? We understand how confusing marketing your business can be. We know how frustrating marketing can be when you don't have a plan to follow. The authority elements, how we bring this in, this can be testimonials, reviews, certifications that you have. It could be customers that you've worked with. So if you've worked with a lot of high profile customers and you have the ability to use their logos and I'm going to recognize that when I land on your website, great. I now am associating the brand credibility from that high profile customer is now being transferred to you. So authority does not have to be difficult. Get those testimonials. You don't need 50 testimonials. 2 or 3 on your website is more than enough. And if you've been featured in publications that we might know about, that's another thing you can do. So all of those things will help establish your authority and your credibility as the guide. Then we give them a plan. So our process plan, I already touched on this, talk with us, get a plan, enjoy greater peace of mind. Okay, and oftentimes I like to see people expand upon those benefits a little bit, right? So talk with us, schedule a free consultation. We'll learn more about your goals and provide you clarity on where to focus your marketing efforts next. Get a plan. Marketing success hinges on first getting the fundamentals right. We'll help you put in place and manage a simple marketing plan that lays the foundation for consistent business growth. Okay, then our agreement plan. A lot of the companies that we work with have worked with other marketing providers in the past. They may have had good experiences, they may have had bad experiences. So we just like to, again, make our agreement plan is helping alleviate some of the fears that they might have. Our work comes with 100% transparency. We'll communicate your marketing results so you know what's working. We'll look out for your marketing investment as if it's our own. Right? How many people have spent marketing money and not seen a return and they just feel like they flushed the money down the toilet? And then your needs are going to come before ours. Right? How many of you have dealt with not just marketing people, but other companies where it's like, you gave them money and you felt like they just took advantage of you. That's a lousy feeling. Nobody wants to feel that way. Calls to action. So for us, our direct is get a free consultation. And then we have a number of different transitional calls to action, but we have one that's based on your website. We have SEO, content, strategy. There's all kinds of different ones that we have. You don't necessarily need to have a gazillion different transitional calls to action. Start with one, and then if you need more, you can just slowly add more, but start with one. Don't bite off more than you can chew. Help avoid failure. Okay, we need to list those consequences again that a customer is going to experience if they don't work with us, right? You may continue to make common and avoidable marketing mistakes. You may waste money on marketing that provides little or no return. Your business may not grow. You're going to continue to struggle with confusion. What does success look like? Generate high quality leads, consistent business growth, gain peace of mind, right? I think we all got into this and started our own business because we want that freedom. We want to be able to control our own destiny more, right? I gain peace of mind because I know that I have marketing that's now working for my business. Make more money with less of my time, right? I can focus on the highest and best use of my time within my business and not worry about the marketing side of it because I've got a partner who's helping me with that. Be and feel successful, right? Enjoy your business again. I think all of us as business owners have been in a position at one point or another where we're in our business and we're like, oh my God, I'm stuck on the treadmill. I'm working in my business, not working on it, right? I'm putting out fires. I don't even like my business right now. You know, that has happened to a lot of people, right? But when you're generating leads, you're doing business, man, you're in a position where you can enjoy your business again, right? So that is success. The character transformation. I've gone from feeling frustrated to being confident that my marketing is working for my business. Then we've got what we call a brand narrative. And this brand narrative in the playbook is it's really more of a full story of your different playbook elements. It doesn't have every element of the playbook in it, but it's just a quick summary. Think of it, the Cliff Note version of the story itself. So we're pulling different elements from our playbook and creating this brand narrative. And this brand narrative is something that we can use on the About page of our website, in the About or Info section of our social media, our business profiles, different areas like that. You might use this in a flyer, something like that. So this is just a quick summary, Cliff Note version of the story. Then you've got two really important messages. Your one-liner, which answers, what do you do? How many times have you gone to a networking event, or you're on the phone with a prospect and they ask you, what do you do? And you have a hard time articulating that. You can't clearly communicate that without rambling on and on and on. That's where this one-liner comes in. And this one-liner is really a distilled version of, the problem, the product solution, and the result, right? It's, or another way to look at it is, we teach these types of people, the target market, how to do X, right? So for us, we help small businesses and entrepreneurs eliminate the confusion of marketing. As your marketing partner, we'll help put in place and manage a simple plan so that you can grow. Then you've got your core message, which is really, think of your core message as your tagline. It's that promise that you're making to customers. It's what makes you different. It's that type of message, but it's clear and succinct. And so for us, we're pulling that from our philosophical problem. Marketing your business shouldn't be a challenge. All you need is a plan. That's it. Okay? So once this is done, how do we incorporate this in our website? And walking you through how we incorporate this in our website, I think will give you an idea of how you may then also incorporate it in other elements of your marketing. But once you have this playbook, when you create messaging, it comes from here. There are, 11 elements in this playbook? Think of these 11 elements as chords on a guitar. And those are the only chords you can use to create music. Can I create an infinite number of songs with those 11 chords? Absolutely. You can create all kinds of music with it, but you're never going to create a song with another chord that's not on this sheet. That's how you use this tool. And when you use it, that's how you create consistency and clarity across all your marketing messaging, because everything comes from here. Your customers are going to hear the same message over and over and over again. People say to me all the time, hey, I feel like I'm repeating myself. Yes, that is the point. There's the marketing rule of 7, which states that your prospects need to see your brand, your message at least 7 times for it to resonate with them and actually sink in. If they see you 7 times and they see you saying 7 different things, it's never going to connect. So we're always saying the same thing over and over again. So these are screenshots from our website. Top of the page, right? This is what we call the above the fold section. Eliminates confusion of marketing using an amazingly simple plan so you can grow. Marketing your business shouldn't be a challenge. All you need is a plan. And then we've got our direct call to action. So we've got our core message in here where we're talking about the villain, the external problem, the philosophical problem is in there. And we've got our call to action. Then we've got another element just below that where we're talking about some, not all, but some of these success elements. Then we've got a content block where we're talking more about some of the failure elements. Are you struggling with confusion in your marketing? The villain. And then we've got these bullet points where we're talking about different failure elements. We've got our call to action again. Your direct call to action should be multiple places on your homepage, and it should be all over the place on your website. Again, I need to see that multiple times for it to really start to register. And when it does register, you don't want to have somebody have to scroll up and look for it somewhere else on the page. We want it to be right there so that they can easily take that action. Next, the benefits of having a plan. We're talking here, marketing success hinges on first getting the fundamentals right. When the fundamentals are in place, you've got a simple plan to follow. And you've got a simple plan to follow, you will become confident in your marketing. We're talking here about the external problem, right? I don't have a plan. Character transformation, which is becoming confident. And then we're highlighting different success elements again. Are you ready to become confident in your marketing? We've got the transformation there again. And then we're also talking about our process plan. Talk with us, get a plan, enjoy greater peace of mind, and our direct call to action is right there again on that page. What our clients say. So these are testimonials, right? Authority building elements. We are a duct tape marketing certified consultant. A lot of people have never heard of duct tape marketing, but we're talking a little bit about the philosophy and the methodology of that, but then we're also highlighting where duct tape marketing has been seen. So you may not have heard of duct tape marketing, but you sure as heck have heard of CNN Money, Inc., Bloomberg, right? And so that all of a sudden, again, there's some transference there of, hey, I may not know what this certification is or what it means, but I do know these others. And most people don't get featured in there if they are not legit. This is a transitional call to action element. So easy tweaks to help you avoid the most common website mistakes today. You may not be ready to get a free consultation, but odds are pretty high you've got a website. You may or may not be happy with it, and we're going to give you some value right here. You put in your name, your email, get it now, and you're going to get it, and then we're going to nurture you. We're going to continue to add value, right? But we're also going to help indoctrinate you a little bit and give you some more insight into our approach and how we help and the types of problems that we solve. So that's how we've incorporated that into our website. Now, I'm going to show you just to help give you some ideas here about how else, once you've created this playbook, how you might incorporate into your social pages. Bam, similar image, same message, right? We've got similar message down here in the info section, right? So there's consistency. I'm not landing on the Twitter page from our website wondering whether I'm at the right place. And how many of you have had that happen? You click on their Facebook page and you're like, man, am I at the right business? Same thing here, right? So similar message. Down here, our story. That is our brand narrative. If you click on this, I don't want to log in. That is our brand narrative. So they're seeing a similar message from one online asset to another. Oops. Same thing here, right? So you're starting to get a feel. There's consistency from one asset to the next. The message is the same. Okay, super, super important. Your core message. You might use your core message in your email signature. Right? There's all kinds of places. Your proposals. There's all kinds of places that you are going to use your playbook. So I hope that's given you kind of an idea of how the process that you're actually going to go through and what a completed playbook looks like. Now we're going to talk briefly about how to actually create your playbook. So the first step, this is optional, but it is highly recommended, is to interview your existing clients. Interview your best clients, the ones you love working with, the ones that are profitable, the ones that refer you business. Those are typically going to be your ideal client types. Interview them and ask them the right questions. And what are the right questions? I'll show you in a minute, and I will actually give you this customer insights survey. Okay. But you want to talk to them about, what did they want before they started to work with you? What problems have you solved for them? What success has looked like for them? How have you helped them? What are the benefits that they've seen in working with you? You just want to dig a little bit deeper. Sometimes it is so difficult for us as business owners to see the forest through the trees. We're so in our business. Sometimes it's just, we need those outside eyes to help guide us. And sometimes your customers can articulate what your messaging needs to be so clearly when you can't. And when you hear them say it, you're like, geez, why did I not think of that? Well, it's because, we're too into it. We're too in it. We just can't see it. And sometimes we need those outside eyes. Your customers will give you some of the best information that you can possibly get. So talk to 3, 5, 8 customers and just ask them. They'll give you really, really good insights into how you should focus your messaging and what it needs to say. So that is step 1. Then step 2, you're just going to go to your playbook and you're going to brainstorm for each element. And the interview information that you gathered is going to help you, right? But when we do this for a client, in that first meeting, all we're really doing is brainstorming. We're asking you the questions. Hey, at step 1, the character, what do your customers want? Just tell me. And we just put them down on paper. I like to get 8 to 10 ideas if I possibly can, and just get this stuff down on paper. Sometimes as you start to work through things, you may not be quite sure about, the villain. That's okay. Just put some ideas down on paper, brainstorm, get this stuff down, and then take a few days and come back to it. And then really look at, okay, out of these 8 to 10 things that I put down for what my customer wants, which one makes the most sense? Which one is going to resonate most? You can't choose 2 or 3 of them. You have to choose one. Because if we try to focus on 2 or 3, we're going to confuse people, right? We're not saying the same thing over and over again. So we've got to come back to one. Choose one. Okay, just choose the one that you think is going to be best and is going to resonate with the most amount of people, most amount of your ideal clients. Okay, but so in that second step, all we're doing is brainstorming. And then step 3, like I said, is we're going to choose. Which element for each of the playbook elements are you going to choose and run with? Okay, so it's not a lot of steps here, right? There's 3 steps. You just got to walk through it and get it. And frankly, if you want, when you get to step 3 and you choose, it's totally okay to go back to your customers and go, hey, here's what I'm thinking. Does this make sense to you? Does that resonate with you? Right? Get their feedback. It's totally okay. You've got to buy into this just as much as your customers do, because if you don't believe in it, you won't use it. And then it's not going to benefit you at all. So interview clients. In the link with the documents from the workshop, you have a PDF of this customer insights survey. And when you look at it, you'll see some of these questions relate directly to each of the playbook elements. So you're getting your customer's answer for each of the playbook elements as you walk through this. I think there's about 14 questions on this survey. These interviews do not have to be long. 15, 20 minutes, you can just get through, and if you want, you can send it to them ahead of time so that they're a little bit more prepared for it, and just run through. And when you do this, I do think it's important to just let customers know, hey, look, there's no right or wrong answer here. You are helping me by telling me straight. So, don't BS me, just tell me how you really feel, because that is going to help us the most. Okay, we want our customers to be candid here and not be afraid that they're going to hurt our feelings. So just ask them the questions, take the notes, and then you're going to pull that information in. And trust me, it will be invaluable. Some of the tools that we use when we help do this for clients that I think you may find helpful as well. Grammarly, if you've never used it, is it's a grammar checking tool. It's not always right 100% of the time, but it does help you catch little mistakes, especially when you've been looking at copy and text over and over again. Sometimes your mind just skips mistakes, where you don't see those mistakes. So Grammarly is really, really helpful in that regard. The Hemingway app, I absolutely love, and the Hemingway app is free. So is Grammarly, but Grammarly does also have a paid one. Hemingway, I'm not a huge literary person, but my understanding is Hemingway wrote very short, clear sentences, right? It was bold and to the point. What the Hemingway app does is you can copy and paste text in here, and it will actually tell you whether it's clear or not. So here, this sentence here in burgundy, or I guess light violet, is too long, right? It's way too long. And the Hemingway app here is telling you this needs to be shortened into multiple sentences and broken up. And so the Hemingway app, again, you may not always take what it says as gospel, but it's a great tool to help you go, hey, am I saying this clearly and succinctly? You can copy and paste in here and get an idea whether you are or not. And then you can make tweaks from there. Because again, remember, with our messaging, our intent is to be clear, not clever. So if we make people think, right, we're going to confuse people and we are going to lose them, which is not what we want at all. Once you've created your playbook, you got to implement. Biggest mistake I see clients make with their playbook is they don't implement. So they just wasted money. We took all this time, put all this messaging together, and then they don't implement it. You've got to implement it. You've got to take that action, right? Remember that Seth Godin quote that we talked about in the beginning. Take the action, start using it. Where are you going to use it? I tell people everywhere. Okay, anytime that you are creating a message that a potential prospect or a current client is going to come in contact with, you can use at least some. You're not always going to use all of your playbook elements, but some of your elements. It's just mix and match, right? You're going to pull in what's important for that particular message. But your website, your email marketing messages, your social media, your ads that you create, if you're doing paid ads or direct mail campaigns, your email signature, in conversations that you have, if you're networking, right, and somebody asks what you do, you're going to use your one-liner. And then you may expand upon it and to invite them a little bit more into the story. Okay, but the bottom line is everywhere you are creating a marketing message, you are going to use this. Your proposals, just don't be bashful. Jump in and start using it. Your website is the single most important place to start because it is the hub for all of your marketing, and that is where all of your marketing efforts really are driving people back to your website. So that's the first place I tell people to start, is with your website. And then you can start to implement. Again, don't bite off more than you can chew. Don't get overwhelmed, and think, oh my God, I've got to implement my playbook in all these channels right now. No. Website first, and then start biting off each one step by step. And as you check off social media or email marketing, cool, check it off, go to the next one, and just work your way through it. And however fast you can do it is how fast you can do it. It's totally okay. You just don't want to get overwhelmed. Take it one step at a time. Okay, so that is the end. I have a few more things that I do want to go through with you guys, but I want to answer any questions that you guys may have. So let's pull this back up. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to unmute you guys. Or you can throw a message in chat if you want. It's totally up to you. But please fire away and ask any and all questions that you have, because that is why I'm here.
Okay. I'll go first.
Either I've totally confused you guys or I've done a really, really good job. Yep. Okay, hold on. Got to chat.
Can you hear me?
Yep. So, yep, in your advertisement, say Facebook ad, how many of your 11 playbook elements do you include? So in a Facebook ad, it's really short and sweet, right? So your headline might focus on the problem. Okay, remember, focusing on the problem is the hook that is going to bring people in to the rest of the ad. So typically your headline is going to focus on a problem or a failure element, right? Are you tired of making common and avoidable marketing mistakes? Or does marketing confuse you? Question mark, right? Then in the actual copy of the ad, that's where you're then going to expand upon it. And you may start to focus on, expand upon the problem elements, and then maybe failure and or success elements, okay? So I hope that helps. So yeah, you're in a Facebook ad, you're probably only going to use maybe 2 to 3 different elements of your playbook. So can I talk a bit about the right questions to ask our customers for the interview? Yep. So, yep, skincare products. Can you talk more about the different questions for the end user versus the reseller? Yep. So this is a great question. Your playbook, every company that we've ever worked with creates a main general playbook. This is the playbook that they use when they're just speaking in general. It's on the homepage of their website. It's their main messaging. Having said that, if you might have very distinct ideal client types, right? An end consumer or a reseller. The messaging to a reseller is totally different than an end consumer. So it's not uncommon for a company to also create a playbook for different target markets. You may create a playbook for specific types of products or services as well. So anywhere where that messaging is distinct and much, much different, you can actually create a playbook specific to that target market or that product or service, right? So in the case of skincare, right, the reseller, I don't know, the reseller might care about the quality of the product and how it makes my skin radiant and 20 years younger, but odds are What they probably care about more is what it's like to do business with you. Are you easy to work with? Can I sell your products? How are you going to support me? So that messaging is going to be quite different. So let me pull up. Minimize this. So this is the customer insights survey. So here's a question. When you started to research our product or service, why were you doing it, right? What did you want? Okay, that's right from section 1 of your playbook. What problems were you hoping to solve by working with us? How are those problems making you feel? That's an internal problem question. Can you identify any root causes of the problems we just discussed? That is trying to help you identify who the villain is. Why did you choose to work with us in the first place? Okay, this just gives you, this is kind of a differentiator, like what makes you different. This is something that can actually help you create your core message. What do you like most about working with us? Again, this could be really good information for your core message. What fears did you have in working with a company like ours? That's your agreement plan. What fears can I help alleviate? What are the negative consequences that we've helped you avoid? What positive changes or benefits have you experienced in working with us, right? These are success elements. Do you feel like you become something different by working with us? This is getting into that transformation. What could we, our products or services, do for you that we don't? Okay, this helps you fill gaps, right? And frankly, this can also help you determine, hey, what's core message, what makes us different, right? Some of the things you may want to focus on. And then the rest of these are just more, it's more information gathering that I think is going to help your business overall. But these are some of the general questions that we like to see people ask in these customer interviews. Get out of here. Okay. Yep, so answered that. Yep, how can a local-only food product work on the website and with other internet marketing? So if I understand your, so it's still, rather than selling a service, you're selling a product, right? But the messaging is still going to be, it's still the same, right? Because people buy your food for a specific reason. You need to understand what that reason is and how you can position your product as a way to solve the problem that they're looking to solve, how it's going to help them, right? So you see this a lot with, organically grown products or, sustainably sourced products, those types of things, right? And this you're kind of getting into your target market, right? Who is my target market and what do they care about? So if my target market is vegan and they want sustainable products that are going to be healthy, then that's how I could potentially position my product as different. But I'll tell you right now, if you get off this call and you go to most of your competitor websites, you will see that I almost guarantee you most of them are incorporating next to none of these elements, and most of their messaging is focused on how great they are and why they're great. So it is not difficult in a lot of cases to differentiate your business significantly when you have good messaging. Yeah, so can you talk more about identifying the villain in the story and the possible risks that follow? So do me a favor, tell me more if you can in chat about what you do. And while I am waiting for that, I'm going to jump through because I want to make sure we get through this, and then I'm happy to answer any questions that you guys have. So I have two things to help you that I want to make sure that you're aware of. One, free stuff, okay? You want my slide deck, the customer insight survey worksheet, the workshop recording, the playbook template. All you need to do is visit this link. When you visit this link, and by the way, I will put this in the chat. You visit that link, all you need to do is put your name and your email here, click get resources, and then you'll get multiple emails from me. You will get a link to all those documents, and I know that they will help you. So all you got to do is just go to this page, opt in. And that's all you need to do to take advantage of those resources. I will upload the workshop recording as soon as I get it back from Zoom. So if you sign up super fast and you get the link and you don't see it in there, that's why. It will be in there shortly. Now, the second thing that I want to at least make you aware of, again, there's no hard sales pitch for me here, but we help people create messaging all the time, and we help them create their playbooks. So if you want to get outside eyes to make sure that you're doing it right and make sure that you've got that clear messaging, this may be something that you want to look at, right? If you want to get your messaging done quickly with the least amount of effort, getting outside eyes and getting our help could be helpful for you as well. And if you're looking to grow and get better return on your marketing dollars, again, having us help you with it could be a really good thing for you. So what do we do and what does this look like? We call it our Accelerate Strategy Package. It's a $1,500 one-time package. When you are done, you have a completed brand playbook. Okay, and then you can take it, run with it, and you know that you've got good, clear, engaging messaging, and then you can implement. Okay, typically we put on here 2 to 4 weeks. I'm going to be honest, a lot of times it takes a little bit longer than that because there tends to be some back and forth, but somewhere in that 4-week range, we can typically get that done. Now, you've spent an hour and a half of time with me. I have an offer if you want to take advantage of our help with messaging. If you buy in the next 48 hours, I will throw in a free 60-minute consult, and I'll answer any and all of your additional marketing questions. Okay, if you want to take advantage of that, all you need to do is email me, tim@rialtomarketing.com, and you can take advantage of that. So if you do that in the next 48 hours, we'll throw in the additional 60-minute consult. If you're not ready, and 2 weeks from now you decide to take advantage of it, no problem. Like I said, we sell this messaging package all the time, and you can take advantage of it at any point in time. If you take advantage in the next 48 hours, we'll throw in that additional 60-minute consult. So that's what I have for you guys. I'm going to answer the rest of the questions. So if you guys do need to jump off, certainly, you certainly can, but I'm going to answer any additional questions. And, I appreciate you guys taking the time. I hope you got a ton of value from it. Keep an eye on the SCORE calendar, because I do multiple things for SCORE. One, I do an Ask Me Anything workshop once a month. So jump on, ask any marketing questions that you want. I do this messaging workshop, and then I also do a website workshop to help make sure that you've got a great website that actually works. So I rotate every other month between messaging and the website. So the website one is a great, sister workshop or complementary workshop to the messaging. So take advantage of that if you so choose. So we're going to come back. So the villain, right? Okay, so can you talk more about identifying the villain in the story? So what we're looking at here is mindfulness and meditation classes, right? So one of the things that could be a villain for mindfulness and meditation, it could be lack of focus. It could be noise, right? We have so much noise in our lives right now. There's so much information coming at us. It's just distracting, and we cannot focus. Our minds cannot stop. They are always running, right? So it could be our minds, right? Or the villain, right? Because they never stop. They're always running. And you help them combat that problem, right? The external problem may be that they can't relax, or they can't focus, or the way they're feeling internally is then being manifested outwardly. So maybe they're getting angry at people, quickly, right? They got a short fuse. Again, I'm just throwing stuff out there, but because there's multiple ways that you could approach this. But from a mindfulness and meditation class perspective, that's typically what it's going to be, right? So it's, but it's all going to come back down to what your customers want, and the external problem that they have. Sometimes what I find, it's easier to come back to the villain. Sometimes it's really hard to identify the villain. Sometimes it's easier to identify the external and the internal problems first, and then think about what may be causing those two problems to manifest themselves. And then that is your villain. Okay. Yeah, cottage food operator. Yeah, I can differentiate my product, but want to keep my marketing focused locally and not wash non-local. Yeah, people's time. Yeah, only to learn. Yeah. So again, that's, if I'm understanding your question correctly, it's your target market is only local, right? So that's one aspect of your target market, is there in a local, very specific geographic region. Since you are trying to attract people locally, a lot of your, your messaging, right? If, again, a lot of times I see people talk about, especially when it comes to food, locally grown, locally, sourced. Well, if that's important to your ideal clients, then great, talk about it. But if you're talking about those things and your target market doesn't care, then it's a waste of breath. You're better off saying something else. So what goes into this message is it's important to understand your target market and who you're trying to reach. Yeah. Okay. So target market. Yeah, thank you for that. So she's they're recommending target market class. I can absolutely look at that. Yeah, would be great. Okay, cool. So I hope I answered all your guys' questions. If you have more, please fire away. We're done 12 minutes early here. So if you guys have other questions, I'm happy to answer them. If you want to fire away, I'll stay on for a little bit longer. Yep, cool. Yeah, no problem, Lily. Happy to help. Metaphors in marketing. So the way I look at metaphors is very similar to stories. They can be really helpful in helping people understand things, right? So a lot of times especially if you're selling something technical, right, like marketing, we oftentimes have what we call the curse of knowledge. Okay, our knowledge level is at an 8, 9, 10, and for our customers, it needs to be at a 2 or a 3. So if using metaphors, right, or telling stories can be a great way to eliminate confusion when you're talking about things that might be more technical and difficult to understand. So if you use a technical term, which honestly, I would tell you, if you can, stay away from technical terms altogether. But if you have to, you could then say, hey, XYZ technical term, it's kind of like, and then you kind of use this metaphor or story that helps people understand what that actually does. So they can be really, really effective at helping people understand concepts that are more difficult for most people to understand. So I think they're very good when used appropriately. Yep, cool. Yeah, awesome. I'm happy to help.
Hey, Tim.
Yes.
This is Josh. Sorry, I'm trying to turn my video on.
No, that's okay.
When you were talking about setting up like the website and you had your top of the fold, everything below that, are you basically trying to play out the entire story for them, but in a way where they insert themselves as the hero and as the main character, and it's almost like reading a book backwards, right? Like
Yeah.
synopsis at the top.
Yeah. So and I get into this in the web class that I do, but yeah, that above the fold, all you want to communicate there is, what do you do? How's it going to make my life better as a customer? And what do I need to do to buy it? The only purpose of your above the fold content is to get people engaged and interested enough to scroll down through the rest of the page, right? So I've only got 8 seconds worth of attention span. If I land on your above the fold content and it takes too long to read, or I'm sitting there thinking, what the hell does that mean? I'm gone.
Or what is this company even doing?
Yes. Yeah. And I guarantee we've all been there probably at least once or twice in the last 6 months, where you land on a website and either it doesn't say anything, it's like a pretty picture and you're like, well, cool, that's great. What the hell does that mean?
Right.
Or they say something, you're like, I still have no idea what the hell you do. And so, there's a gazillion other competitors that showed up in the search results. So I can just go back and click on their website to see if it resonates more. So yeah, all you're doing is just continuing to give them more information that digs a little bit deeper as they're scrolling down that page. So we're talking about those failure elements, your process plan. One of the things that I didn't get into, because it's not necessarily relevant to the playbook, but oftentimes, you're going to have, you may highlight your products or services, your 3 main services or 4 main services. You might highlight the types of clients that you work with. So if you're working with 2 or 3 different target markets, you might talk about those. So those are other elements that are on there. We didn't even talk about, video. Video is a great way on the homepage of your website. I saw
that on your Facebook. I was like, oh, I made a video. Okay.
Yeah, to see people. Video is a great way to get people to know you and put a face to the company rather than just reading information. Video connects. I mean, there's no shortage. There's no substitute for face-to-face. Face-to-face obviously is significantly hampered right now.
Right.
Video is a great way to do it. So look, you guys don't know me, but you just sat and listened to me talk for an hour and a half. You can see me. It's at least helping you get to know me better than you would otherwise. And so video can be really, really effective in multiple places in your marketing, but on the homepage, what we typically recommend people do is, you want that to be, I think, pretty professional, because it is more of a company culture type, company brand representation type video. But in there, all you're doing is focusing on what you do, the problems that you solve for customers, the benefits that they're going to see, and you have a clear call to action. Right? It's
so
quick.
The same thing, but you're just saying it instead of putting it down in writing.
Yep.
Okay.
Same thing. 2 to 3 minute video, boom, done, in, out. They get to know you, they see you talking, and it just further solidifies the message that you already have written on the page.
Right. So is that kind of work with, because I've heard somebody say don't use stock images very often. On your website, would you try and use more like pictures of yourself and like doing things, or would you still like try and use some stock?
You can. I think it depends on what your business is about and what you're selling. I mean, we use stock images all the time in website designs that we do. We just try to dress them up where we can, you know. I mean, because look, not everybody's gonna spend the money to have great photography done, you know. So there are, I mean, the header image on our website, that's a stock photo of the Rialto Bridge, you know. So you know, but we've got other messaging in there. It's, in a lot of cases, it's, you know, there's an overlay on there. So, you know, it's, I think when you look at images that you want to use on your website, I think what's more important than anything else, whether it's a stock photo or custom, is that it is helping communicate your message.
Don't put like a clown on there and you're trying to sell food or anything like that.
Yeah, exactly, right? So, you know, if you're selling food, you've got images of your food. You've got images of people enjoying your food, right? You don't have a picture of a waterfall, right? So to me, the job of your imaging is to help reinforce the message that and the feeling that you're trying to create about what you're saying, what the experience is like to work with you, you know. So if you want customers to be happy when they're done working with you, you know, and you're in a corporate setting, you may have a picture of people smiling in a boardroom, shaking hands, you know. I mean, it's that type of thing. So I think that is more important than whether it's stock or not.
Okay. Cool. Hey, thanks for all your time, Tim. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm happy to help. So I got one other question down here. After building your story, what are the fastest avenues to get that story to your target market? So yeah, so now you're starting to get into what this is going to depend on where you're at, right? But this is about getting in front of people. So one, you got to get it on your website, first and foremost. But then depending on the type of business you have, getting your story in front of people, there's all kinds of channels. You could use social media, right? You could use the fastest way for most businesses to generate new business is referrals and word of mouth. You know, so reaching out to past customers is a great way to get your new story out. Reaching out to potential strategic or referral partners, people that are already working with your target market who don't compete with you, but you complement. That's a great way to get out and get in front of people as well. You know, but social media, I will tell you, it can be a great channel, but it does take time. You know, most of us are not gonna start posting stuff on social media and all of a sudden have 1 million followers. So social, it takes a lot of time and a lot of work, because you can't just post stuff and then expect people to start following you. You need to engage people. You need to get social. You need to comment on other people's posts. You need to mention them. You need to reshare their content, you know, all of those things. But if you've got an existing email list, you know, existing clients, that's another good way to get the information out there as well. So I hope that helps. That really is a loaded question, because it does depend on what you're doing right now and the assets that you currently have in place. But I think at its most base level, you want to take advantage of the channels that you've already been using and update those channels to get that message out there. Another really fast way to get in front of people and generate leads is paid advertising. Okay, but paid advertising takes money. It's expensive. You know, if you're going to do Google ads or Facebook ads, it takes money, but it's a great way to get in front of people and start generating leads fairly quickly. But I also think it is not a channel you want to become dependent on. You want to be able to generate leads from other channels. So I hope that helps. Awesome. Guys, if there are no last minute questions, I'll wait another minute or so. But other than that, you know, take advantage of the free tools. Just go to the link, put your name and email in there, and you'll get those. If you want to take advantage of the messaging from us and have us do it for you and give you those outside eyes, just email me directly and be happy to talk to you about that. And we can go from there. But I hope you guys got a ton of value from it. And I appreciate you taking, you know, an hour and a half of your time to stay with me today. So thank you so much. Yes, and you'll access the PowerPoint slides from the opt-in page. So from this page right here. So go to rialtomarketing.com, messaging-workshop, and you'll get the slides right from there. So awesome. Thanks, guys. I'm going to sign off, and hopefully I'll catch up with you again soon. Take care.